Call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. We'll begin with a roll call. Kameyer, Lima Barbosa, Schilling, Jones, Halbuth, Chernaski, Martins, Miller, Siney, Fliggy, Karocha, Babatunde, Kekung, Utica, Schroeder, Osborne, Bernal, Corshi, Dahman, Rice, Hartley, Nandal, Valenzuela, Pouch, and Marcus. Everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now it's time for open forum. This is a time for open discussion regarding issues relevant to the student body. Is anyone here for open forum? Feel free to step up to the podium. Seeing nobody, we're going to move on to adopting the agenda. Do I have any motions? Senator Nandal?
I move to strike. Give me a second. It's on. Okay. I move to strike 2026-1-002 SC. The reason to that is Maya will not be seated this week or this session. Yeah.
All right, hearing a second. Moving on. Is there any other motions? Fliggy? All right, any other motions? Daman?
Motion to strike bylaw, or not strike, waive bylaw 2.19.7 to move the seating bills above the speaker and vice speaker election.
Any call for UC? Any objections? All right, so moved. Any other changes to the agenda? All right, move to approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion? Moved. All right, on to committee reports. Is there any outstanding business from committees? Like to report? I see nothing. All right, comments from the judicial branch. Comments from the advisor?
No comment.
Comments from executive branch.
Okay, I'll stand because normally you'd see me standing. Today I'm loud and clerking. So I want to thank you all for coming to inauguration. For those who did, really appreciate that. Also appreciate the business professional today. You all look great. Thank you. Maybe we'll keep that consistent with the next meetings. Maybe we won't. We'll talk about it as a group someday. And yeah, again, thanks for coming. Welcome to another year of student government. For those coming back, be friendly, lend a helping hand to the people that are new around you. If you're new, take that lending hand and soak in all that you can. There's a lot to learn, so I'm glad you're here. Like I said, I'm sitting at the table today because I'm clerking, so if there's interest in any of you or your friends or your peers or classmates, let me know and we can talk about having them start the process to become a clerk for our Senate. Otherwise, again, thank you all for coming. Looking forward to a great year. Thanks.
All right, moving on to internal matters. We have 2026-1-001 SD, seating of a college LES senator with Senator Kameyer.
All right. You can go to the podium if you would like. Emily was the LES senator for essentially this entire semester, and she's looking to join just for the first session, and I'll let her explain the rest.
Is this working?
So yeah, I'm already pretty familiar with a lot of you guys, but for people who don't know me, my name is Emily Carr, and I'm a sophomore majoring in political science, global resource systems, and international studies, with minors in French and Spanish. And yeah, I served as the LAS senator for the remainder, like the second semester of this year. And yeah.
It's been called, the question seconded. Start with a roll call vote. See? Any objections? Congrats.
Do I have to be sworn in?
Yes.
I'll have you raise your right hand. Please repeat after me. I solemnly swear or affirm
I solemnly swear or affirm
to execute the duties of my position
to execute the duties of my position
as prescribed in the Constitution
as prescribed in the Constitution
and laws of the government
and laws of the government
for the benefit of all students.
for the benefit of all students.
Congratulations.
Motion to add Senator Corsi to the roll.
Second.
All right, moving on to 2026-1-003 SD, seeking an off-campus residence center with Senator Nandal.
Okay, so UROC sent him favorably to the Senate. Since we don't have a speaker, he does not need to be seen by the speaker yet. And I yield my time to him so he can explain why he's interested in joining Senate.
Everybody, my name is Aiden Spock. I'm the current treasurer of UROC. I'm a sophomore, and my major is industrial technology with a focus in manufacturing. Like I said, treasurer of UROC, so I've done a lot of outreach stuff, or I want to do a lot of outreach stuff, and continue to work on the plans that we have for continue to work on the plans that we have for those outreach programs, and also just get more people involved and notify our constituents about what we do within UROC.
Senator Saini? Saini?
It's Sani.
Sani?
Yeah. If you were to describe yourself in one word, what would it be?
Outgoing.
I yield.
Senator Kiermaier?
Okay, I'll have a little more serious of a question. So as a future off-campus resident myself, what do some of these outreach programs look like, and how will being a senator help you to further those programs?
Yeah, so like right now we're working on doing a lot of, in the commuter lot, we're gonna set up a table and, give out donuts and whatever else. I wanna do a lot more stuff like that. It's also do more of not just like maybe around the apartments or just overall just around campus, kind of just spread the word of like who we are and just make it easier for you. Like, oh yeah, this is who we are. We can help you in whatever way you can, or we can.
So we call the question seconded. Any objections?
Yeah, I want to ask a question.
Senator Bernal?
Okay, first of all, thank you for being here, and I'm glad we're going to have you here to start off the session running. So all senators have to be a part of a committee. I don't know if you looked into it yet, but do you have any committees in mind right now?
Yeah, so two of the committees I'm looking at are Finance Committee and Local Affairs.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Been called the question seconded. Any objections? Heard a call for UC. Any objections? All right, congratulations. Mr. Romero.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I solemnly swear or affirm
I solemnly swear or affirm
to execute the duties of my position
to execute the duties of my position
as prescribed in the Constitution
as prescribed in the Constitution
and laws of the government
and laws of the government
for the benefit of all students.
for the benefit of all students.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Motion to add Senators Utica and Spock to the roll.
We now move on to 2026-1-004 SD, seating by fraternity residence center with Senator Hartley.
Okay, so this person was sent to us from the Interfraternity Council. He served as our fraternity senator last term, and he's going to explain a little bit why he'd like to come back.
Yeah, so my name is Joey Ramari. I'm a political science major. I do live in a fraternity and am planning on living in a fraternity next semester. Just kind of want to come back. Feel like I didn't really accomplish much in the short time that I had last term, I guess. So just want to keep going and keep the movement going.
Senator Bernal.
I mean, I'm excited to work with you again, but do you have an eye on any committee right now so far?
I know it's not a committee, but I really, really want to be a part of Ledge Ambassadors. I think I can provide a lot to that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Senator Pouch.
Yeah, thank you for stepping forward for the role. The question I'd have for you is, you mentioned that you didn't feel like you accomplished as much as you would have liked to. In the last session, can you explain like what you would hope to accomplish in this term?
I mean, like actually having like a committee meeting would be cool. We didn't have one on events whenever I got sat, so actually just doing something would be pretty cool. Yeah, being useful.
Senator Schilling. Been called, question seconded. Any objections? Proceed with the roll call vote. Or UC, any objections? Congratulations.
Will you raise your right hand? Please repeat after me. I solemnly swear or affirm
I solemnly swear or affirm
to execute the duties of my position
to execute the duties of my position
as prescribed in the Constitution
as prescribed in the Constitution
and laws of the government
and laws of the government
for the benefit of all students.
for the benefit of all students.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Motion to add Senator Romari to the roll.
All right, now we're moving to 2026-1-005 SD, seating the College Engineering Center with Senator Kameyer.
All right, last one of these. I'll have Emma come to the stand and explain what it means to be an engineering center.
Hi guys, I'm Emma Valley. I'm a junior, rising senior in electrical engineering with a minor in mathematics. I was elected in last November as a senator and would like to continue.
Senator Bernal.
You're probably going to know what the question is, but what committee are you looking to either continue working in or join a new one?
Yes, so I was on sustainability last year, so maybe it's continuing on sustainability or joining the new academic affairs.
We call the question seconded. Any objections? UC, any objections? Congratulations.
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I solemnly swear or affirm
I solemnly swear or affirm
to execute the duties of my position
to execute the duties of my position
as prescribed in the Constitution
as prescribed in the Constitution
and laws of the government
and laws of the
for the
government
benefit of all students.
with the benefit of all students.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Senator Andal.
I move to add Senator Valley to the roll.
We're now moving to 2026-1-001 SL, election of the Speaker of the Senate with Senator Nandal.
Okay, this bill is for the Speaker of the Senate, since this is a new term, there's a vacancy, and I would like to move to open the floor to nominations.
Floor is open for nominations. Senator Kameyer.
I nominate Senator Hartley.
Senator Miller.
I nominate Senator Kameyer.
I will humbly and respectfully decline. Thank you.
Senator Bernal.
I'll nominate Senator Dahman.
Accepts. Is there a motion to close nominations? Moved. All right. Will each candidate now approach the podium and prepare to give a 5-minute speech in the order they're nominated? Senator Hartley, you go first. You may begin whenever you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Claire Hartley. I am a sophomore, double majoring in political science and Spanish, and I'm grateful for the chance to be here in front of you all tonight as a nominee for Speaker of the Senate. Over the past year, I've had the honor of serving as the Vice Speaker, and I've had a chance to learn this Senate in a way that goes beyond its procedures. I've learned its people, its rhythms, its responsibilities, and the expectations that guide how we serve students. That experience has given me a deep understanding of our bylaws and Constitution and the systems that protect fairness and help us do our best work. But more than anything, it has shown me the necessity of clarity, consistency, and collaboration, and the potential we have when we all commit to that together. I'm ready to bring that experience into this role and represent all of you. I'm not afraid to disagree when necessary. I'm ready to support you, and I'm ready to manage conflict with clarity and compassion. The responsibility of the Speaker is to not just write agendas and enforce our bylaws, but to represent this entire Senate. Each committee, each constituency, each senator, in every conversation, every decision, and everything else that shapes our branch. And I want to start with something that matters deeply to me. Student government can be a positive and productive place when we make it one. When we create clarity, communicate openly, and support one another, this space becomes a place where students can thrive, not just as senators, but as students, human beings, and as leaders. It also becomes a place where ideas turn into action, where projects move forward because people feel equipped and encouraged to follow through. The Speaker helps set that tone, and I want to help build a Senate where people feel grounded, welcomed, and empowered to do that work. A big part of creating that positive environment is transparency. Senators are elected by their constituents, and the Speaker is elected by those senators. The Speaker doesn't just represent themselves, they represent the entire body. When elected as Speaker, I will communicate on what decisions are being discussed, what conversations are happening, and how they affect this Senate. Transparency builds trust, and trust builds a stronger legislative branch. To support that transparency, I'd like to implement structured Senate reports. These will ensure that every committee's work is recognized, every constituency is heard, and every senator has a clear line of communication with the Speaker if they're unable to meet in person. That is how we will build a Senate that feels unified and informed. My vision for Senate centers on 4 positive pillars: structure, support, culture, and communication. First, structure, the kind that makes our work easier, not harder. Earlier committee assignments so we can start off strong in the fall. More programs during Senate meetings to keep us informed and engaged. A refreshed set of baby bylaws to help our onboarding with our newer senators. And a good structure that doesn't restrict people but empowers them. Second is support, because senators deserve tools that will help them succeed. During the last bylaw revision, I advocated for the increase of outreach credits. I also want to advocate for the accessibility of attaining those outreach credits and of outreach in general. I plan to meet with every senator by the end of the first session to talk through their goals, projects, and how we can get those done. I want to provide one-pagers on writing bills, Robert's Rules, and student government basics so no one feels alone or lost in the process. I want our required bill writing workshop to be something people actually find helpful, because support is how we turn our potential into progress. Third is culture. I want more morale events, more opportunities for us all to connect, and a strong, engaging Senate retreat each term. There should be more time for us to celebrate each other's accomplishments, and I want to model a student-first approach, including my own boundary of not missing class for student government unless excused, and prioritizing all of our mental and physical well-beings. A positive culture makes everything else we do possible. And finally, communication, the foundation of our trust. These will be seen through bi-weekly Senate reports from the Speaker and Vice Speaker, a Senate group chat on Teams that will help everyone stay connected on a more casual level, stronger relationships across campus by inviting university leaders like President Cook to help collaborate on newer ideas. When our communication is strong, our work becomes more effective, more collaborative, and more impactful. All of these ideas come from experience, from seeing what lifts this Senate up, what helps senators thrive, and what makes this work meaningful. I believe in this body, and I believe in the students we represent. I believe that with the right structure, support, and leadership, this Senate can be a place where people feel confident, connected, and proud to serve. Thank you for your trust, your service, and your consideration. I'd be honored to serve as your next Speaker of the Senate.
Senator Dahman, you may begin whenever you're ready.
All right, good evening, everyone. For those of you who have not had the pleasure of meeting before, my name is Ben Dahman. I am a sophomore, rising junior in mechanical engineering. For the last term, I've had the privilege of serving as one of the residence hall senators, and I'm now the Frederickson Court senator. I'm gonna be honest, until yesterday, I didn't really have the thought of running for speaker anywhere in my mind. But when I saw that Senator Hartley could potentially be running uncontested, not that I believe she would do a great job as speaker, but I just do not like the idea of having a position as influential as speaker to be uncontested. So that's primarily why I'm running. And something I want to change with us is, in the last election, we had 0 contested Senate seats. I want to try to increase outreach so that the people that sit in this room, not knock on anyone for the work that you have done or will do, but to make sure that the people here are the ones who were elected, who their constituents decided had the best ideas, and the best candidate for the job. Outside of increasing recruitment, I would like to have more outreach with the rest of the university. An idea I had that I heard from Senator Bernal recently was we have so many events that we fund, yet I don't believe we really have people going to those events. And I think it'd be a great idea to have senators go to those events so that we are not just people who are here and they come back for money, but we're people there to support them. And otherwise, I would like to always help new senators with your duties as a senator, because just last year, that was me, and then I was absolutely terrified to be a senator. And I would like to help those new senators and all senators with their position and learning and writing bills and stuff like that. So thank you for listening to the speech.
All right, now we'll begin the questioning phase. As a reminder, every senator has 2 speaking privileges. They cannot be, to ask questions, they cannot be used back and forth, so you'll have to wait to come back around for your second question. And yeah, what's your response? Sorry, Mr. Naskey?
I have 2 questions, and it's going to be to both of the candidates. My 2 questions are, what would you have done differently for this last year compared to the speaker, and what will you do similarly to what the past speaker has done?
Last year, I feel like there was a struggle with enforcing our rules. There was often how I felt like we had a little bit of low expectations. And I think having those higher expectations have those higher outcomes. And one thing I advocated for in our most recent bylaw changes was the separation of the nonfeasance enforcement ability. So that gives some of that to the vice speaker. So the vice speaker has some authority to enforce those if there's a situation where the speaker is not. But I plan on fully enforcing those rules, but with compassion, which I think is something that our past speaker did do really well, was being very compassionate, as well as just being an understanding person. Thank you.
So something I would do differently to the former speaker personally would be a lot of times I would see over there by where the speaker and vice speaker sits that there would be this sort of game of telephone with what the rules were at a certain point. And I want to make sure that I would be make sure to know what the rules are for the situation we're in and be able to enforce those rules. And then something I would do similarly is I think Josie was a great speaker, and then and she did a great job. And just one thing is a little bit hard to find, but whenever I talked to her in the office, she was always very caring and had an answer to any questions, and that would be something I do similar. Thank you.
Senator Bernal.
Thank you.
Okay, this is going to be a question for both of you. So what are your plans, and this is how to conduct a Rules Committee for the upcoming term?
So I've personally experienced 2 different rules committees, one led by Speaker Momini, which was more structured, following closely to Robert's rules. We used placards, we used speaking privileges, things like that. And then this last year, we had Speaker Pursley's Rules Committee, which was more casual and more like a conversational type meeting. I personally I prefer the more following of Robert's rules. I feel like that ensures that everybody gets their proper speaking privileges when handling our bylaws and our Constitution and other documents like contracts. So I would say more leaning towards the use of Robert's rules, where, like here, we understand when mistakes happen, and we're compassionate people, not getting down on each other if we make a mistake or two.
I think it would be have to do with who is on Rules Committee and what their personalities were. If it was people that are more following Robert's rules, that's the way I would run it. If it's people that are want to run it more casually, that's how I run it. Whichever way gives the best ability for Rules Committee to get things done.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
Okay, so kind of a bit of 2 questions. How would you describe the ideal speaker and explain how would you be the best fit for the role?
Okay, I hope this answers both of those questions at the same time. So I feel like I'm the perfect amount of type A, if this makes sense. So I really like when things get done. I really like having a schedule. I like making sure all of my bases are covered, but I am okay when things always don't go my way. I understand if things always don't work out. I'm okay with change, things like that. I think a speaker needs to be willing to deal with the punches while still having that willing to stay with the schedule, willing to stay with what they say they'll stay with.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
How would you describe the ideal speaker and how do you think you fit that role?
So I think something that would be something that the ideal speaker would have would be transparency and openness to all senators, to have someone that they can come to with their problems, that we can look at the facts and see what the best course forward would be. And I think I would be able to have people come to me and do that so we determine the best path forward. Thank you.
Senator Kammeier.
All right. I want to thank you both for volunteering. Floor elections are terrifying as someone who's experienced a couple of them. I'm going to throw you with a bit of a curveball, so just be prepared. What, in your opinion, is the ideal length of a Senate meeting and why?
I thought a lot about this. So I think that between an hour and 25 minutes to 2 hours is the perfect Senate meeting, depending on the agenda length, because that makes it feel like we've had a good discussion on what we've had on the agenda. We've spent our time on each of our bills without making it crazy long, you know? I feel like that's a good amount of time, and usually if it's done before 8, the sun's still out and it's nice, and that's always nice. So that's my perfect amount of time, between an hour 25 and 2.
I would say about an hour and a half, similar to Senator Hartley. Because when the Senate meetings get too long, like it was last week, that is kind of just insane. Staying here until 11 is not something that we should be doing on a regular basis at all. But if it's shorter than that, shorter than an hour and a half, it doesn't feel like we had any discussion really. We were just going in and out. So I think this is the perfect middle ground of being long enough for discussion, yet not short enough that we're not doing it.
Senator Pouch?
Okay, so this is kind of a follow-up to Senator Kmeyer's question. Obviously, you want to keep it below 2 hours, but how do you prepare for loaded agendas, nights where we just kind of have to get through everything, and we really don't have an option to table?
I think one of the commitments when you're signing up for this role is to block off your Wednesday nights from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I think that having that blocked off every single week is entirely reasonable to expect from our senators. Spending our time on our bills is our due diligence to the students we represent, and I think that it is entirely okay for us to enforce that. People get tired, I understand. People are students. If they have an exam, that makes sense that they have to leave for that, but I think we could stay till 10 if we need to.
Yeah, so that's basically what we had to do last week, is that if it comes to that where we can't table it and we have to do it, it comes to the point we just have to buckle down. We got to discuss it. We shouldn't rush through anything, but we have to get it done and discuss and vote it on. And if we get to the point where the MU closes, we'll have to do a special meeting just like we did on Monday.
Senator Jones?
Okay, we ask this question every year. I've been here for a while. So I just want to make sure that you both are aware that being speaker is a time commitment, and you will have time in your schedule in the upcoming semesters to commit your time to this role.
Yes. So when planning my fall semester, I didn't want to plan with the expectation of getting this, but just keeping in mind that I knew I was running. I'm taking 15 credits. I don't have many other things other than what I do for student government. I don't see this as an issue. I'm a very schedule-oriented person. I'm kind of in the office at the same time every week. I like my routine, so this won't be much of a change for me, I think.
Yeah, so I just registered for classes on Monday. I'm currently registered for 17 credits, but I would, if it was selected, I would drop one of those classes to bring it down to 14. And then outside of student government and classes, I only have about a couple hours a week worth of time commitments outside of that.
Seeing no more questions, I would ask the two candidates to move into the hallways, move to the debate. Oh, Senator Utica.
Thank you very much. I would want to ask, what are your conflict resolution skills? Can you give a real life example when you resolved the conflict and how it went?
So I think that when dealing with conflict, it's always important to have compassion and find out all the facts. I think one thing that's really important is to never assume I'm always willing to go up to the person and ask specifically what's going on, making sure that I know all of the information, I'm not assuming anything. A real life situation would be last semester I was a peer mentor, and there was a situation where two of my mentees were just not getting along, and I didn't know exactly what was going on, so I talked to them both separately and then talked to them both separately again, and then helped facilitate a conversation where they were able to resolve that together.
So for conflict resolution, I have worked as a supervisor for our intramural sports program, and for that we are trained in conflict resolution, and that through that I have been sworn at and yelled at by participants, and I do not foresee anyone in this room doing that. But just got to calmly explain to them what's going on, try to get both sides of the story, and find a path forward.
All right, seeing no more questions, can both of our candidates please move into the hallway as we move into the debate phase?
Just move to add Senator Kakung to the roll.
Floor is not open for debate. Senator Jones. Oh, Senator Leader Barbosa, sorry.
Hi, so I want to say that both of the candidates are really qualified, and I think all their answers were really meaningful. I think Senator Dahlman was really brave to stand up in the podium. But personally, I think Senator Hartley is has a lot of experience, and it's willing to dedicate all the efforts, time, efforts, and like mental efforts into the position. So I think that's something that we need to all take into consideration.
Senator Jones.
Just to echo Senator Lima Barbosa, both candidates are great candidates. I will be voting for Senator Hartley because Senator Hartley put in the time and effort as Vice Speaker last term, and I think she would do a wonderful job as Speaker. And yeah.
Senator Bernal.
I'm going to kind of repeat what other people are saying. I mean, both wonderful people. I've worked with Ben through IRHA, and of course, since I'm a Red Sox senator since October, he's one of the ones who really got me into student government and got me talking and doing stuff like this. And I've also, Senator Hartley, I mean, since November, been through rules, been through long discussions about our Constitution and our bylaws. I think that Senator Hartley would be the perfect fit for this job. I think the work that she's done as Vice Speaker will translate really well to what she plans to do as Speaker if elected. Thank you.
Senator Pouch.
Yeah, so one thing I appreciate about Ben was he was able to get up there, kind of give his speech. It seemed like either on the fly or well rehearsed. He was also able to answer our questions very well. But I really do appreciate that Senator Hartley brought forward 4 measurable things, one of those being communication, which usually tears down organizations. And so having her be able to focus on that right away was something that really impressed me, and I think that's why she has my support.
Senator Halbeth.
I'm just going to kind of echo for Senator Hartley as well. Just as a newer senator, just as perspective-wise, I feel like she was super compassionate and just was like, I could go to her for anything, for any questions I had. It's a lot joining student government and not really knowing what's going on all of the time, just at that first kind of area. So I'm just echoing what Senator Jones and other people have said as well.
Motion and a second. Any objections? All right. Thank you, Samantha. Senator Rondal.
Okay, so before we move into the clarifying question phase, I would ask that we swear in James Summers and he be seated on the roll, be on the roll, so he can also voice his opinions and ask questions, if that's okay with everyone.
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I solemnly swear or affirm
I solemnly swear or affirm
to execute the duties of my position
execute the duties of my position
as prescribed in the Constitution
as prescribed in the Constitution
and laws of the government
and the laws of the government
for the benefit of all students.
for the benefit of all students.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Motion to add Senator Summers to the roll.
Motion, is there a second? All right, we're now at the clarification phase. Each candidate will give a 2-minute closing speech in the order they were nominated. Apologies. Question phase. Bring us Senator Jones.
Motion to end clarifying questions phase.
The motion, is there a second? All right, both candidates can now give their 2-minute closing address in the order that they were nominated.
All right. As we wrap up tonight, I want to return to why we serve in our positions. Every one of us is here because we believe students deserve a government that reflects their needs, their voices, and we believe and their hopes for this campus. Over the past 2 years, I've seen how the Senate can work when we work with clarity, purpose, and trust, choosing to lead not just with procedures, but with intention. I'd like to say a quote by Mary Ann Radmacher: "What power there is in our service when our actions line up with our mission, skills, and joy." To me, that's exactly what student government is meant to be. When our work aligns with our mission, we use our skills to lift each other's up, and we find joy in serving students, this branch becomes more than a legislative body. Our organization is built on 3 pillars: service, advocacy, and empowerment. Service, because students trust us to show up for them. Advocacy, because their concerns deserve a voice at every table. And empowerment, because our job is not just to lead, but to help others lead too. When elected Speaker, those pillars will guide every decision I make. I want to build a Senate where structure supports you, where communication keeps us connected, and where culture makes this work fulfilling. I want to represent this body with transparency and integrity, ensuring that the Speaker's voice in every conversation is truly your voice. And I want to create systems from senator reports to clearer onboarding that make it easier for every senator to succeed. I believe in this Senate, and I believe in the students we represent. And I believe that when our actions align with our mission, we are capable of extraordinary service, advocacy, and empowerment. And I'm excited to help us get there. Thank you for your time, your service, and your commitment to this work. I'd be honored to serve as your Speaker.
Maybe whenever.
All right, so I would like to thank everyone for the opportunity to run for speaker tonight. I think that Senator Hartley would make a great speaker. I just want to make sure that the senators here would have an option to do something else. But I just wanted to bring it back to why what the stuff I want to do, which is to have more Senate candidates run so that the people here are not just the people here just because you're the only one who signed up and filled out the paperwork and did the 2 outreach rights. But I want to have people in here be the best that their constituency has to offer. They had the best ideas and spoke to the most people. And that's something I want to do as your speaker. Thank you.
We will now move to a roll call vote. Please state the name of the nominee you choose to elect. Be good. You can also abstain. An abstention will remove you from it. However, abstentions are generally in the event of a conflict of interest, so please try to avoid that. Against Senator Kameyer. Ema Barbosa. Schilling. Jones. Halbuth. Shernaski. Martins. Miller. Sani. Fliggy. Karocha. Babatunde. Kekun. Say that one more time. Utica. Schroeder. Bernal. Qureshi. Dahman. Oh. Rice. Nandal. Valenzuela. Pouch. Marcus. Carr. Spack. Romare. Valley. Summers. With a vote of 26 to 1 to 1, congratulations, Senator Hartley. All right, now Senator Hartley's name will be added to the bill as a whole, and we will now move to vote on the bill, or debate the bill. Call the question, seconded. Any objections? You see, it's been called. Any objections? The bill passes. All right, we now move to 2026-1-002 SL, election of the Vice Speaker of the Senate with Senator Nandal.
Okay, the procedure of this bill will be similar to how the Speaker was elected, and I would like to move to open the open the floor to nominations.
Senator Kameyer. Senator Jones.
I nominate Senator Marcus.
I accept.
I also nominate Senator Sofia Lima Barbosa.
Senator Kameyer.
Just want to shout out to Samantha for nominating the same people I was going to nominate. Wow.
Senator Sani.
I nominate Senator Dahman.
I accept.
Senator Pouch.
I nominate Senator Bernal.
I accept.
Senator Utica.
I nominate Senator Kekun.
Thank you, Senator Lucky. I respectfully decline.
Senator Qureshi.
I nominate Senator Nandal.
I do respectfully decline, I'm sorry.
Senator Miller.
I nominate Senator Kammeier.
I humbly and respectfully decline.
Senator Undall.
I move to close the floor to nominations.
Moved and seconded. Any objections? Right. All right, well, now all of the nominees approach the stand in the order they were nominated. As a reminder, it is Marcus, Lima Barbosa, Dahmen, and then Bernal. We'll begin with Senator Marcus, and you may start whenever ready.
All right. Hello, everyone. For those of you that I have not met yet, my name is Riker Marcus, and I'm a sophomore going to be a junior majoring in agricultural education. I want to start my speech tonight by telling you how I found student government and why it matters so much to me. As a freshman on campus, just like many of my peers, and I'm sure many of you, I wanted to find something to do and some people to call my friends. So being an ag major, I decided to attend the Cow's Club Fest. I quickly learned that I struggled to say no when someone asked me to join something, and after Club Fest had ended, I had somehow joined 6 clubs. After attending all 6 of their monthly meetings, a member of the executive team of the Dairy Science Club told me there was an opening in Cal's Senate seats in the student government. I said, oh great, another club to join. I asked what I needed to know about the student government to be in it, and he said, you're gonna learn as you go, but I do know for sure they use Robert's Rules of Order to run their meetings. Now, for those of you that don't know, I was on a debate team in FFA throughout high school, and I have the very unpopular opinion of loving Robert's Rules of Order. So it is safe to say that I was very excited to join student government after I had learned that. And I was gonna be able to use what I had learned once again. Now here I am. This is my 3rd term in student government, and in my time here, I have served on the Rules and Finance Committees for almost 3 full semesters each, with 1 semester as Vice Chair of Finance. Through my time on committees, working on projects, and helping others with their projects, I have familiarized myself with our governing documents, whether it was rewriting the bylaws last year on Rules Committee or reviewing the P&C to find ways for us to adapt and change as our priorities do. During my time in student government, I have dedicated myself to learning what I can do for my constituents and how I can help those around me achieve their goals. I think that following the procedures we have is very important, but I also think that as a new senator, it's a lot to take in. That is why I think the student government's biggest strength is our ability to work together and help each other finish these projects, achieve these goals, and learn not only what we can do for our constituents, but also what we can do for each other and all the students we collectively represent. I want to be a leader people can come to for help with anything they may need, and I want to be a leader who helps us connect with each other and accomplish those hard-to-achieve goals as a team. Throughout my time in Senate, I have met some people who have not only helped me with projects, but have helped me see challenges from new perspectives, which is why I want to become Vice Speaker. Not only because this organization is important to me, but also because I want to help all our members work as a team to make this year a great year. I understand the responsibilities and commitments that are expected of a Vice Speaker, and I believe that with the dedication and passion I have for this organization, I am fully prepared to take on this role and do my best to represent all of the great students at Iowa State. Thank you.
You may start when ready.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sofia de Lima Barbosa. I'm a junior in architecture at Iowa State, double minor in urban studies and sustainability. And tonight, I stand before you all as an nominee for a role of the Vice Speaker of Senate. I would like to start by sharing what I believe this role is truly about. The Vice Speaker is a person that a senator turns to for guidance on procedure, to help navigate resources, or to simply feel heard. I want to be someone the Senate can count on in all of those moments. I'm organized, I'm a quick learner, and I believe the best way to serve this community is always to make time to listen. At its core, this role is about support, and that's something I'm confident I can offer.
Over this past 2 years, I've had the opportunity to serve this organization in several capacities. I began as International Student Experience Director in the IDEA Committee, where I learned what it means to advocate, collaborate in meaningful projects, and function part of a cabinet. And then I briefly served as Senate Clerk, which deepened my understanding of procedures of the organization. And since October, as College of Design Senator, I've been actively engaged in committees including finance and sustainability, advocating for what I believe alongside of all of you. My experience across both the executive and legislative sides of student government has shown me how important it is for this organization to be well connected. And this is why I want to be the person who helps make that happen, ensuring that every senator knows where to go, who to talk to, and how to get things done, both within and beyond this organization. Looking ahead, I have a few clear goals in this role. First, I want every senator to feel heard and supported. Second, I want to make sure that everyone, especially those stepping into these roles right now for the first time, has the knowledge they need to hit the ground running. Third, I want to strengthen the connections across all our different roles, and in particular, I want our at-larges to feel part of this organization and valuing their ideas. And finally, I want our Senate leadership to be genuinely present in committees, in conversations, and with individual senators. On a more concrete level, I want to speak what I actually plan to do in this role. I started a project called How to Do stugov, and I'm currently developing alongside Senator Nando and Speaker Hartley, and this is something that I'm deeply passionate about. The goal is straightforward, is to reduce the learning curve that all of us go through when first stepping into these roles. I want to be a guide packet that serves as a real reference for everyone across all branches of this organization, so no one feel lost, and so the internal knowledge we already have is being used in a productive way. Beyond that, I understand the Vice Speaker is responsible for supervising office hours and outreach credits, and I want to approach that responsibility with both care and assertiveness. My first priority will be communication. I want every senator to be informed and supported, and I want any concerns to be addressed before they ever become a problem. I'm not afraid of difficult conversations. It prevents bigger issues of being developed. We're all students first, and I fully respect that, but we also signed up for this role. And with that, it comes commitment. If a senator is struggling, I want to sit down with them, talk it through, and find a solution together. However, if someone is unwilling to meet that commitment or unwilling to work towards a solution with me, I'll make sure that our rules are enforced. In short, I want to be the support you all need to succeed. I see myself as a supportive person, and this is what I want for all of us. I want this branch to have meaningful conversations, to be able to disagree, work through it, and still come together to work for the well-being of the students we all represent. This is what drives me, and this is what I bring to the role of Vice Speaker. Thank you.
Maybe get ready.
So I won't take up too much time because you all just heard from me. But I just wanted to say that all the things that I said there, that's not just something I'm saying. That's something I want to do. I want to bring recruitment so that we have contested elections, so we have the best people here. And I want to support all new senators and all senators within their role, becoming better at their role and supporting them in whatever way I can. And to, if you have problems or disagreements with someone, that you can come to me and we can look at the facts and find a path forward that's beneficial for all parties. Thank you.
We start when ready.
Okay, thank you. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Bain Bernal. I am currently a freshman, so I'm the baby of the four. I'm currently studying ag business, world policy studies, and economics, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about why I want to be Vice Speaker. So when I came into here in Iowa State, I was coming from California. I really didn't know what to expect other than it would be cold for most of the year. At Destination Iowa State, I got to meet the former president, Colby Brandt, and talk to him about student government. He drew me in with what we did, an immense power to help support all 31,000 students of Iowa State. And so I decided there's an open residence hall seat. I'm going to try and take it. I got an interview with the IRHA president, Senator Potch, and I thankfully got the job. I'm right in front of you here today. And so my experiences since October when I was sat is the reason is why I'm up here. Everything I'm about to talk about is stuff that I experienced as a senator and stuff I think I can bring to the table as Vice Speaker. And the big three pillars are outreach, recruitment, and rules. So first I want to start with the outreach and recruitment. As a new senator, I really didn't know what to do. I was afraid to speak up during Senate meetings at first. It took a while for me to get my bearings. Thankfully, former Speaker Pursley and former Vice Speaker Hartley were the ones who kind of got me going. They took me down to the office after my first Senate meeting, and they gave me a little run through of what I'll do, what I should do, and like certain committees I should join. Then I joined Rules. And so one of the big things I want to do is make sure that new senators, whether they're here now at the first meeting of the term, or they join in October like I did, have a few friendly faces to get them on their feet and going. And the way I want to do that is, of course, face-to-face communication and through our new senator packet. One of the big things I think we need to focus on is, like Senator Marcus said, parliamentary procedure. I think a lot of people struggle to get into Senate because they don't know necessarily how parliamentary procedure works. They might be afraid to make a motion, or they might be afraid to talk. I think we need a program, first of all, or a working meeting to teach people how to do a Senate meeting. And then after that, I think we should start including basic motions, rules, and stuff like that in the new Senate packet so senators can do a bit of research before they come to their first meeting. Now, when it comes to outreach, this is where I'm most ambitious. I think that outreach is our greatest strength, and we need to utilize it more just so we can get our faces out here and so we can also bring people in. I'm going to kind of rebound off what Senator Dahman said. I was kind of bummed when I realized I wasn't in a competitive race. I wanted to, actually go out there, put my hardest in campaigning, and make my ideas heard. And even if I lost, I'd be happy knowing that the electorate chose the right people for the job. And that's where outreach comes in. I want to work with the director of outreach to specifically go to club events that we fund. I think those are amazing opportunities for all of us here to see what we are funding, of course, and get to meet students of any background. It doesn't matter if you're a residence hall senator and you're going to an event that might be for engineering, you still should go to understand what you are voting for and what you're putting your money towards. That is my biggest thing I want to accomplish as Vice Speaker. Along with that, I want to break the myth of student government. A few months ago, one of my constituents came up to me and talked about how student government kind of seemed like a board of directors. When you think about one, you only think about the suit and tie. You don't think about the face. And so one of the big things I want to do, once again, is get people out to classes to speak, get people out to those club events to speak, get people to just go to club meetings in, casual outfits to show that, hey, we're a fellow student too. Let's work together and see if we can maybe get you interested in being an at-large or maybe a senator or any position where you could help contribute to all 31,000 students' experiences here at Iowa State. And finally, I just want to end off with a bit of rules. I think Rules Committee is one of our greatest assets, and I want to make sure that we go in strong and hard considering what we have to face in the upcoming year. The baby bylaws, of course, those weren't able to be accomplished due to time constraints. I think getting those in will help our new senators get adjusted quicker, faster, and being able to just understand how the bylaws function. Along with that, I think it's just important to make sure we have the proper vetting process for senators, making sure that they are living where they are supposed to live or they attend the college in which they are supposed to attend. We've had a few unfortunate incidents in the past. Along with that, I want to make sure that Rules is streamlined and is able to hit the ground running with stuff like the contract we shortened to 1 year with student legal services. That's a big one coming up for those of you who may not know. We shortened it to 1 year, so Rules is going to have to revisit it. That type of stuff is what Rules needs to focus on, and as Vice Speaker, I think I can offer both valuable input and a way for people to communicate clearly and get their thoughts in. Thank you.
Floor is open to questions. We'll begin with Senator Jones.
Okay, this is a question for all of you. Give you some background. So I was a senator. My first term was like a long time ago. And I remember walking into my first Senate meeting not knowing what was going on. I had no clue. I walked in blind, and I was greeted by our potential speaker and vice speaker at that time, and they welcomed me with open arms. How do you intend to make new senators feel welcome and involved and felt seen like past vice speakers have?
Yeah, so I think that's an absolutely amazing question. I think that a lot of people don't consider that that's one of the bigger roles of vice speaker, is because speaker is busier handling the speaker's duties, and so it's not always their job to welcome senators and everything while they can, and they definitely usually don't have the time to coach senators on everything that we do. So one of the things that I definitely want to do, I've talked about it to past speakers, past vice speakers, it's something similar to Senator Bernal, what he said, is even a program about, parliamentary procedure, get people educated, and then those people that come in later, I think as a vice speaker, I think it's your job to talk to those senators, say, hey, okay, here's the resources, I'll be in the office, my office hours are, on the board or on the website, wherever they may be. Let that student know, let whoever it may be, let them know, let that new senator, new member, whoever it is, let them know where you are, how they can reach you, let them know they can reach you on Teams, email, whatever works best for you, right? And then get in contact with them, give them, a week or two to settle in, and then check up on them as the speaker, or as the vice speaker, sorry. Just check up on them, reach out to them, say, hey, how are you settling into student government? Is there any questions that you have? Is there anything that you haven't understood fully? Is there anything confusing in the bylaws or any of the committees that you want to join? Anything that got you any questions? Just not only giving them a line of communication to reach you, but following up on it and reaching out to them, because they may not always be comfortable at first until they truly get to know you or the other people in student government.
So for me, first and foremost, I think the vice speaker is the first contact that the senator have when they join student government. And first, when they see each other in rules, and then I feel like that's the first point that you create a connection. And the second is when that person is actually sad, and they're gonna be sad, the meeting is gonna happen, and it's gonna be scary. And then the vice speaker is gonna talk to them right after. And I feel like that's the moment that you explain that maybe the meeting was scary, maybe it was a short meeting, but there's things to break down. There's like a lot of things that you have to learn, but you can go in your time. You don't have to, in the first meeting, understand all of it. But to do this, you have to ensure that your communication with the senator that was just said is adequate. Make sure that they understand what they're doing. And I fully agree that's not just about the new senator reaching out to you. You have to be the one reaching out. You have to be the one checking up. You have to be making the effort of being present in that person's life to make sure that they feel comfortable in talking to you back. Thank you.
So my answer is going to be very similar to Senator Marcus and Senator Lima Barbosa's answer, which is get to know the new senator and then make sure that they know that they can come to us or come to me with any concerns they have where they didn't understand something that happened in the meeting, or they don't understand how to join a committee, or anything, any number of things that they might have questions about. And then they can come to me and to know that I will be able to help them and point them in the right direction to get the information that they need, or to get sat to the right committee, or to know what they need to know for their role. Thank you.
The two things I mostly think about is the roughly 5 or 6 days between when they are confirmed in rules and when they're sat in a Senate that is, and also, I forgot the other one, and also involvement. So I'm going to start with the 5 or 6 days before they are, when they're confirmed through rules and then sat in Senate. I think that is a heavily underutilized part where we can introduce people into student government before they actually go to a meeting. I'll admit, my first student government meeting was when the athletic director and president came to talk about potential fee increases. I had no clue what to do. I was extremely nervous. I kind of felt like I was going to throw up. So I feel, I know, a bit outrageous, but I think that if we can schedule, maybe on that Monday or Tuesday, or maybe the Friday, if we can schedule a time in the office and be like, hey, come down here. Either the speaker or vice speaker will be here. Come down to the office. Maybe you'll be able to interact with a few other senators. We're going to show you the ropes. We're going to tell you how Senate meetings usually go, and be able to get them at least a bit more calm and understanding of how the process works. That's where we need to utilize that time period. Along with that, I think we need to get them involved in committees as soon as possible. Personally, me, I didn't start speaking in the entire Senate until I was speaking in committees. I felt more comfortable speaking to a small group of 6 people, 7 people. God damn it. 6 to 8 people, let's leave it at that. I felt more comfortable speaking to that amount of people, and then I slowly worked myself up to here in Senate. So I think if we're able to provide people all the contact information of those who run the committees, tell them, hey, whichever one you're interested in, contact them right now. Once you're sat, let's see if we can get you through in maybe the week after or the week after that, so they can start interacting in a smaller, more personal level with people, and then maybe they'll start speaking more in Senate. Thank you.
Speaker Hartley.
Well, thank you all. You're all doing a lovely job, and I think that any of the four of you would be an amazing vice speaker. I mentioned earlier that this last bylaw revision, we changed it where the vice speaker will now be enforcing nonfeasances for missed outreach credits and missed office hours. That can be a little intimidating. How would you go about handling that type of situation?
Man, going first does not give you time to think. I'll talk about a past experience I've had. So I mentioned I was in FFA in high school. My senior year of FFA, I served as the president of our chapter. And one of the biggest jobs that I had was encouraging members to go to everything, just like all the other officers did. But I also had to settle disputes between my other executive team. I had to, when there was an issue between the treasurer and the secretary arguing on whose job was what, or one of them tried to get the other to do part of their job. I won't go into too much detail on it, but the first thing I did was something similar to actually what you said you did with your peers that you were mentoring, the students you had mentoring. I sat them down individually. I talked to one of them during a class I had with them, and then the other during lunch I had with them. And I asked them what was going on and why they were arguing, why they weren't getting along. And I talked to each of them individually, and then I was able to bring them together. And I had to do it with my ag teacher because I wasn't qualified in any way to do it. But I brought them together, and with my teacher's supervision, I was able to talk to the two of them and get them to facilitate a conversation between each other and just understand that it was just a misunderstanding and that there wasn't, it didn't need to be a huge thing. And so I've had experience with conflict mediation. I've had experience with having to confront people on a number of things. But I would say just between my experiences and everything else, I'd be able to be fully prepared to handle any kind of conflict that would arise or any kind of confrontation I might have to have with another member of Senate.
So I fully agree that that can be scary, but I think it all starts with communication. Maybe the student is just going through a rough week or going through a rough semester. And I think you're not gonna know that until you actually reach out and try to communicate. So I feel like, I think I mentioned this in my opening remarks, if the person is not willing to collaborate or to try to work together for a better solution, then I'll have no problem making them, enforcing our bylaws and enforcing the deficiencies we have. But I think most of the times it's just miscommunication, and miscommunication always comes from both sides. So if you see a student struggling, I will be more than willing to go and talk to them and clarify how can I help and try to find a way of working around it. And if that person is not willing to, I think we all step into this role knowing our expectations. So I think we should suffer the consequences of not fitting those expectations.
So I think the big thing with that would be communication to hopefully avoid getting into that situation to start with. But if they got to the point where they would need to have the rules used on them, it would just be going up to them, scheduling a meeting with them, and and doing something like, hey, this is the rule you broke. This is the path that is going to be moving forward. This is what you need to do in the future. And I think that's the best way to avoid any big conflicts with that person. Thank you.
So first, I'd like to separate the nonfeasance for outreach credits and then the nonfeasance for office hours. I think at times, people not doing enough outreach credits can be at the fault of people like, I mean, if I was elected, the vice speaker. I think the vice speaker, especially in collaboration with the director of outreach, should be maybe not constantly emailing, but in stuff like the bi-weekly updates, being like, okay, these events that we funded are happening here. Here's where they meet, here's the time, and here's the day. I think we need to be able to constantly provide all these sorts of outreach opportunities for senators, make sure they understand it. I mean, I think a great way would also be utilizing the calendar if there's open spaces. Hey, here's an event being hosted here, write it down, location and time. I think that'd be great. Of course, there might be times where, like, yeah, okay, they understand the rules and maybe they're a repeat offender. that's the point where you do have to put the foot down and be like, we're gonna have a one-on-one meeting, let's talk about why. I wanna see your point of view, I wanna understand why you weren't able to reach your outreach credits. Of course, once again, you gotta follow the rules, and if we can't come to an understanding or like we can't set them on the right path, of course, that's where you put the foot down. For office hours, I think it's a lot more simple. I think everyone here, maybe not the new senators yet, it's a 1 office hour per week. I understand that a lot of us are busy people, but the office is open for a long time. 8 to 5 on most days, and on Fridays, I forgot the exact time, but somebody can correct me on that. But I think for that, it's going to be more, keeping an open line of communication, maybe an emergency happened, then we can talk about that. But if you're missing office hour week after week without giving any prior communication to me or the speaker, then we have a problem. Then we're going to have to follow the rules and set them straight.
Senator Kammeier.
And I'll just, so that everyone knows, 8 to 7 Monday through Thursday, and then 8 to 5 on Fridays. So I guess first of all, I want to appreciate the courage of all of you to run for vice speaker. Floor elections, again, are terrifying, and I appreciate it. My question to all of you, one of the things that now Speaker Hartley was very passionate about is supporting senators, not having student government take over your life. As someone whose life was taken over by student government for the last 2 years, I'll ask what senator support looks like to you, or just what that means.
Yeah, so I did talk about this a little bit for senator support to me. It does mean reaching out, helping them get going, making sure they know what resources are available to them, explaining and answering any questions they might have. I think that's just the basics, right? That's the bare minimum. That's what's expected of a vice speaker. I think going a little bit above and beyond that is, checking up with individual senators based on, their projects, seeing if they've found a project that they're working on or if they're looking to help on a project. Because I do know a few senators that in the past that are now graduated who helped me and even told me, oh, I wasn't working on a project, so I'm really glad you asked for help. And so even just extending that arm to people, the people that need help and the people that really want to help. There is a lot of that in student government, but sometimes people are a little concerned to ask, or they don't want to intrude on someone else's project. And so I think just being that line of communication's been said a lot tonight, but it's a very big thing with all of us. And I would say just being that line for senators and other members, just being able to be there to give resources and help along the journey for them throughout semester to semester. That's, I think, the biggest thing. And then just making sure that if they want to help, or if they're looking to help, or if they're struggling coming up with some ideas, helping them brainstorm, helping them find people that are looking for help. Just doing those things, I think, is a great way to get started.
So I think support was my keyword in my opening remarks, but I think support comes in many ways depending on who are you talking to. Maybe you're dealing with a student that needs to be reminded about their office hours every week, and that's okay, and that's support. Maybe you need to break down everything that's going to happen in Senate that week because they're not as familiar. I think support comes in many ways, shapes, or form, but it's all based in communication. And again, communication goes both ways. You cannot expect that everyone's going to be comfortable enough to come with you for questions, but you're expected to go ask if they need anything. I think my biggest thing for support is being able to reach out so that people can feel they can reach out back. Thank you.
So for senator support, I think that the first thing is to getting to know the senators, to make sure that they know that they can come to me with any problems that they have related to student government, and if they feel like their life is being taken over by student government, to help them have sort of a separation so that they're not thinking about this or doing something for us all day, every day, and to make sure that they know the resources that they have available to them so that they don't end up being overwhelmed or having to resign for whatever reason related to that.
Now, I think this is a great area for everybody here as a senator, and I also think the Health and Wellness Committee might be great in this as well, is to try and develop maybe not an official Senate support program, I want everybody here, I want to be able to talk about, anything with all of you. I want to be able to feel comfortable enough to go to any one of you guys and talk about maybe it's an issue I'm having with Senate. Maybe it's something outside. I just want to have people be comfortable enough with each other here to be able to confide in each other. I think it'd be great, maybe a working meeting or something along that for the first 30 minutes. Do some sort of maybe get to know each other exercise, something that we're not just knowing each other because you're senator this and you represent here, but you know a bit more about what they like, what they don't like, what you can talk to them about, stuff like that. Along with that, I just think the vice speaker being an open person, being able to be active on Teams, Outlook, being able to answer any questions they may have is pretty important as well. I think if we're able to utilize both ourselves as a Senate and possibly health and wellness too, because I think they'd be great at working at a lot of the support stuff that props up the Senate. I just be able to think a cross-collaboration effort between Vice Speaker, all of you guys, health and wellness would be an excellent way to be able to get people comfortable with each other, be able to support each other in any way possible, and just make the Senate a, not friendlier, but a more comfortable place for everybody to be.
With that, our 15-minute timer for debate has expired. Do we have a motion to extend debate?
So moved.
We go to the roll call votes. UC's been called. Any objection? All right, Senator Schilling.
Hi, so my question is going to be more of a reflection question. So looking back on each of your guys' times on Senate, what is something you personally could have done better, and what would you change in your response to that, or what would you do different moving forward?
Thinking back on all of my time throughout Senate, I would say probably the number one thing I would have changed is, well, other than not being in 6 organizations and Senate, but other than that, because I feel like that's a cop-out answer, I think I would have joined 2 committees sooner. When I first started, I joined Rules Committee, and then Finance Committee was full, and I didn't learn about waiving bylaws or anything like that at the time. So I wish I would have tried something like Sustainability or Local Affairs or the many other committees that we have that I definitely do have an interest in learning about or being a part of. I just didn't push myself to do it because I was waiting for that finance seat. And I think if I could, I would go back and change that and give myself those other experiences earlier on. That way I just knew more about all of the great things we did sooner.
I always say that I try to be a better person every day that I wake up. And I have like so many answers to that question. I think first and foremost, I would have been more knowledgeable. Is that a word? Have more knowledge. I struggle a lot in understanding so many things when I started. So I feel like if I had a packet, like I mentioned in my first speech, that kind of broke down to me what I had to do and what was expected of me, I would have been more successful. I also regret not paying as much attention to at-larges. As soon as I joined sustainability, I noticed how powerful at-larges can be, and that is my biggest regret, not to have understood that beforehand.
Right, so when I first joined Senate at the end of last year, I was absolutely terrified. I definitely had imposter syndrome, thinking like, oh, why am I here, and stuff like that. And I was really scared to put my placard up and speak. And I continue to have that until pretty recently now to do that. And so something that I would do differently would be knowing when I first started, hey, these people aren't going to bite your heads off for speaking or asking a question that they think is dumb, and having more confidence to speak.
For as much as I talked about outreach in my previous few questions, my biggest struggle was actually outreach. I kind of skated by on thin margins, both last session and the session beforehand, and I'll admit a lot of that was on me. But that's why I'm here wanting to fix that. I think one of the biggest issues was that I was too comfortable doing stuff within my own like residency area. I went to IRHA events, but I didn't push myself to go to places where I might not be comfortable going, to places where I might not be the same major as them. I might not live on the same place as them. And so I think that for me, it was outreach, and I'd love to fix that by once again advertising different events where people can go to, no matter what your position is. I think it's important to understand the consensus or the understanding of everybody, just not your own constituents as well.
Senator Chernaski?
I think that it's really important to have a really well-rounded student government where we have a lot of really unique voices and some very different perspectives and opinions on things. And so my question is kind of long here. It's what do you bring to the table that contrasts with the newly elected speaker, newly elected president, newly elected vice president, or any other member of student government that separates you from others and makes us a more well-rounded student government? Essentially, what makes you different from everyone else in a way that would benefit your role as vice speaker?
So I definitely have a lot of different answers to this. I would say the most important thing to me that I would say is, I could say, I really, really love Robert's Rules of Order, where other people don't. I've been told many times every time I say it. But I would say the thing that makes me different compared to these newly elected people is my outlooks on life, the way I view things, just the experiences I've had, especially being from more of a, I'd say, agriculture background or sustainable background, or growing up like learning a lot of environmental related things. I'd say it definitely gives me more of an outlook on a lot of things, like, what can we do more sustainably, or what are some ways we could do things like this. And I feel like just that's only one example, right? There's probably hundreds of things I could say, or at least maybe 100 if I took long enough to think about it. But I would say that my biggest thing is just my outlooks and my experiences on life has just shaped me to be different than the people that have been elected.
I have two answers for this question. First, I'm an international student, so I think by default I bring a new way of understanding things. But second, I am unfortunately not scared of say what I think. And that is good and that is bad. I think being strongly opinionated is very good, but fortunately I also can easily change my mind with something. So I think those are my two different aspects. I'm always gonna have an opinion, but I'm gonna be the first one to say that I was wrong and I wanna learn a new thing and how to bring that to the table.
So something similar, I have a pretty similar answer to Senator Lima Barbosa, but I do definitely have some strong opinions on stuff, but given new information, if I think that that's good information that will improve my view on a certain topic or something, that I will change my opinion. And if I believe something that was good is actually bad, then I will make sure that people know that I know that that was wrong.
So I can take this like at two levels. I think at a surface level, I'm an out-of-state student. I'm originally from a place called El Centro, California. I think I'd bring a unique perspective, of course, as an out-of-state student who experiences like the different, experiences as an out-of-state student. I pay usually a higher tuition. It's a bit harder for me to integrate into how Iowa is. I'm not used to this level of cold. I've never experienced snow more than a few days before in my life before this. But at a deeper level, I think it's my idea of planning for the future of student government. As vice speaker, I don't want to just think, what am I going to be able to do this year? My idea is, what can I do to set the next vice speaker and the next vice speaker after that for success? I want to be ambitious. I want to aim high. And even if it doesn't work, that'll signal to the other vice speakers, hey, let's either approach this from a different perspective or maybe let's not do it. I want to make sure that student government is successful for whenever I graduate. And I want to be sure that it isn't just me focusing on what can I accomplish now. It's what can others accomplish in the future.
Senator Jones?
I forgot my question, but I think I was going to ask, oh yeah, okay. I asked the same question during the speakers. You know that being a vice speaker is a time commitment, and I want to make sure that you have considered your classes, your extracurriculars, so can you talk about what you're doing next semester and the upcoming semesters?
Yeah. So thankfully, I'm no longer in 7 organizations. I have narrowed it down to just being a part of student government, just because I found this is where I'm most passionate for the work I do, and this is the thing that I really push myself to want to do more in, want to attend, want to strive for those higher expectations. You know, I don't want to be a bare minimum expected person, if that makes sense. I didn't word that well, but I would also say I'm only taking 15 credits in the fall, as well as I'm only planning to take 15 in the spring. I don't foresee that changing. It's just the way my 4-year plan's lined up, so these next 2 semesters are actually fairly easy for me because it's 15 credits and it's classes that I did very similar things to in high school or I already know a lot about. And so the time commitment on classes isn't going to be too bad for me. And this being my only organization means that other than class and here, I don't have any other time commitments. So I'm fully prepared to take on every bit of time that this role would require of me.
First, I want to say that I put my effort in everything that I decide to do. So as soon as if I get elected, this will be a priority and I'll be the best version I can for the job. With that being said, my hardest years in school kind of passed, thank God. So, sorry. From now on, I hope it gets better, and it will. And fortunately, I have a pretty flexible schedule from now on with my core classes, so I can adapt with whatever the role needs of me to adapt. Thank you.
So this is going to be a pretty similar answer to what I gave before, which is I am currently registered for 17 classes in the semester, but if this happens, I will be dropping one of those to bring it down to 14. And then outside of that, it's just a couple hours a week of other stuff. And I have exactly 0 classes on Tuesdays. So I could devote that to student government and yeah.
So I'll say this, I'll be taking 18 credits next semester. It's a lot, but this semester I was taking 20. So it's going to be a lighter schedule for me next year. I have my 4-year plan. I'm a freshman, so I don't submit my plan until April 15th. But right now, I have more than enough time to dedicate my time as a potential vice speaker to student government. Student government is the only organization I am really a part of. I live, breathe, and die by it. I mean, I am extremely passionate for what is being done here, the work it does for students. And so I definitely have more than enough time to spend time in the office, spend time in the meetings, be able to do what must be done to be an effective vice speaker.
Senator Miller?
Okay, guys, I was hoping each of you could name your least favorite bylaw. And let's not make Riker go first this time, if that's okay. We go in backwards order, maybe. He has to? Oh, okay. Well, take your time if you need to think.
I wouldn't say I just really have a bone to pick with a specific bylaw. I would say if there was, one specific one and just had to pick one, I would say just because I just argued against it recently, was making it so there was 10 voting at-larges on every committee. And then I obviously later found out that that's more of a grand scheme picture and it won't technically apply to rules and finance in the exact same way that it'll apply to other committees. So, but that would be the one if I had to single out a bylaw.
So fortunately, I don't have a really strong opinion on that. I am going to say the exact opposite of Riker. I think, I said this before, at-larges are powerful, and I don't think we should limit them. I think this is an option for directors, and directors should be able to decide whatever they want of their committee. So I think that's my least favorite one.
I can't say I really have a least favorite bylaw, but I guess then it would be the one that makes us go in the exact order that we're going in right now.
I actually love that one, so I don't know what you're talking about. But if you asked me a few months ago, I would have said the bylaws on how abstentions were worked. I hated the way they were worked previously. I am extremely happy that we changed that. Currently, I believe we have the bylaw in which that states like whatever is misspelled in the Constitution, just make sure the original meaning is how it's applied. It kind of sucks that it's in there in the first place because we made a tiny spelling error in the Constitution that passed, but I wish we didn't have it because we didn't make any spelling mistakes, but one of them slipped through.
Senator Quashie.
Okay, so I want to go back a little bit to the creating a supportive and comfortable environment conversation. So all of you are big on, supporting new senators and being welcoming and all that. So I'm a bit curious about how you all have personally gone out of your way to make your fellow senators comfortable. Do you guys have any instance where you have reached out to someone, whether you know the person or not, but have you had that experience? And if you can share on that. And secondly, also, I know being able to reach out to everyone and make this place more comfortable for all senators to be able to speak up, personality can also affect how you are able to, go out of your way and be able to get in touch with everyone. So I want to also ask, based on your personality types, what do you think might be a challenge for you, and how do you intend to work on those challenges so that you'll be able to execute your duty to create that comfortable environment that you all are seeking to create for new senators? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so for your first question, just want to clarify because that was a little bit for me. The first one, you just want to know how, like, an experience we've had while supporting someone or trying to reach out to support them, make them feel comfortable?
Yeah, so just like your daily experience as a senator, how have you, supported someone, a fellow senator here, prior to, you coming up here to vie for the position of the vice speaker? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I don't know if they want me to use their name or not, so I won't. But I have had very similar experiences actually with two different people where they had reached out to me asking me for just some information about funding and how some things worked, and maybe even just a question about how we usually interpret one of the lines in the P&C, just because some of them are left up to interpretation. And what I did is I reached out and I said, okay, do you want to meet in the office? Do you want to meet somewhere else? Do you want to just, is it easier for you if we just email back and forth or Teams back and forth? Just trying to make them comfortable, giving them the option of how they want to communicate about the issue. And then also when just having that understanding that, I was in finance for a while. I had read through the P&C a couple of times. I'd read through the finance bylaws. So just knowing that I had knowledge that they haven't had the chance to get yet. And so recognizing that it's not a lack of knowledge on their part, it's just that they're still learning, they're still figuring things out. So just acknowledging that they're starting out somewhere I started out once, and so understanding how they feel, making them feel comfortable by not talking down to them or making them feel silly or dumb in any way for not knowing something, but just making them feel comfortable with how I was talking to them, making sure that I was very clear and offered like second and third explanations on things if they didn't understand the way I said it the first time. And then the second question, can you remind me what the second question was?
Yeah, so the second question is about personality type and how that maybe your personality might, have some challenges or barriers to you creating a conducive environment for the Senate. So if there's anything that you think might be a challenge and how you would work on that so that you'll be able to create that environment that you want to create for senators, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I would say I probably wouldn't have like a specific characteristic that would make it hard for me or like challenge me to reach out to people, talk to people, do anything along those lines, making this a supportive environment. I think that one of my best qualities is being able to communicate with others and try to, make people's days better, not worse. That's something I always strive to try and do. I would say maybe a challenge could be, I really enjoy just working on something for like a continuous amount of time. So maybe if I'm just super focused on a project or initiative someone asked me to help them on, or a project of my own, and just making sure that I remember to find that time to respond to those people or answer those questions or do those things. But I am really good with time management, so that's not really a worry for me. But that would be the answer I'd give.
So for the first question, I was really thinking. I don't think it's personally something that I did, but I made a mistake a couple of Senate meetings ago, and I was like terrified. I was like shaking. And then I just looked at Claire, and Claire was like being the perfect vice speaker, calming me down. And I think that wasn't me that did it, but that's the vice speaker I want to be able to just look someone across the room and calm them down. And for the personality type, I don't really know. I would go back to I'm strongly opinionated, so I think sometimes that's for the good and sometimes that's for the bad side of things. But I feel like I'm learning how to control that, and I think I'm being really successful, but I don't mean to brag about it.
So I think the first step into creating a comfortable Senate environment would be getting to know all the senators, not as senators, but as people. And then once you know people, know that they can come to me with anything that they need help with, whether that be with the role, with their constituency, with committees, or whatever. And then for the second part with the personality, that can potentially make it challenging. If there's like a senator that I don't get along with for whatever reason, that can make it difficult, but that would not stop me from trying to help them with whatever they need.
So I think for creating a more comfortable environment, I haven't had a long time here to have people like actively reach out to me, maybe for deeper stuff, but something I usually do after a new senator is sat is I'll go up to them and I'll usually ask them, hey, how do I pronounce your last name or your first name? And I think it's just a sign of respect. A lot of times in my life, people have either mispronounced my first name, Bain, don't know how they do that, the Y throws them off, or my last name, Bernal. And so I usually like doing stuff like that, getting to just understand somebody, how they pronounce their name, and just, I think it's a good sign of basic respect. You're able to, call them by the right name, of course, don't have them correct you. And I think that's just a great way to make inroads with people, is be able to just build that rapport with them from the get-go, especially right after they're sat. And for the second question, my personality, or big struggle, I kind of like to think of myself as like a type of dog, like a bull terrier. Like, it'll grab onto something and it won't let go. And there's a lot of benefits to that. Like, I will keep on attacking something until I'm able to find out a solution. But there are other times where I have to realize I have to let go, take a step back, take a deep breath, and be like, I need to approach this from a different angle, or I need to get input. That's something I'm trying to actively work on, be able to collaborate more and not just keep on running into a brick wall until I either find a solution or don't.
There's been a motion and second. Any objections? All right, can all of our nominees please step out into the hallway? And the floor is now open for debate. I saw Hartley first.
All right, everybody. Well, we have some really great candidates for this, and I just want to tell you all that I support whatever you all decide as a body and that I'm planning to abstain from this decision.
Senator Jones?
Okay. I've had the longest time in here, and I've got to know all of the candidates for this position well. They are all fit for this position. I think I will be voting for Senator Luma Barbosa because she has just like the kindest heart, and she is the most welcoming person you'll ever meet. I know she'll make a great vice speaker because she just will welcome you in with open arms, whether you are a seasoned member of Senate or you're brand new. She'll make you feel right at home. And like she said, she's not afraid to speak her mind. I've seen her firsthand at finance committee meetings, speaking up for what is right, what she believes in. I think having that warm embrace, but also the side of her that's able to be confrontational makes a great characteristics for a vice speaker.
Senator Schilling.
To back what Senator Jones said, I think Senator Barbosa is a excellent candidate, as well as Bain Bernal. I'm split between the two right now. They are both very passionate about this position. However, I do think Senator Bernal, he's not afraid to let people know what they're doing wrong. He's very passionate, very outspoken, and I'm leaning more towards him, but I would be fine with either candidate.
Senator Pouch.
Yeah, so I think that honestly, Senator Marcus and then also Senator Bernal are definitely the candidates that I think are best fit for the position. Other than nominating him, I do want to speak about Senator Bernal. I think he's shown a lot of amazing growth this year, and beyond that, I think his ambition is really going to well balance Speaker Hartley's attention to making sure people feel welcome and that they're very well supported. And I think that sets up the Senate really well. At least I know I'll be here another year, at least I hope so. And that'll allow our Senate to function very well going into the next year, which is something that consistency might be something we need just to kind of keep us on track. So I would definitely in support of Senator Bernal.
Senator Kameyer.
All right. Just first, before I say anything relevant, this is one of those really pretty sunset days. So please, look outside while it's still there, because it'll be pitch black pretty soon. Anyway, I could say about 100 amazing things about all four of the candidates. I think that they're all great, but I am going to be voting for Senator Marcus, and I think that he has a lot of benefits in terms of experience. He's actually been on Rules Committee the longest of the four, which some of you might not know because he was on Rules Committee under our previous speaker before Josie, so Speaker Momney. And as well, I think that he really cares about this organization. He had an opportunity when he had to step back last semester to just kind of be done with student government, and instead he was almost immediately like, I want to rejoin, this is my passion. And I think that that speaks a lot to his character as well as his resolve to want to care for this organization, as well as representing the legislative body, which I think is a very important part of this position, which I'm sure Claire can speak to too. And yeah, I will yield to the floor.
Senator Cocoon. Senator Miller.
I also just want to support Riker. He's come to Rules, even not being on Rules, multiple times. He's confident. And as someone on Rules, I know what it takes to be a good vice speaker, and I think he'll do an amazing job. And I'd be excited to work with him on Rules if I were to rejoin. Thank you.
Senator Schilling.
I do agree with you guys. Riker is a great candidate, but I do believe personally for me, I believe he would fit better somewhere else.
Senator Miller.
I disagree with a lot of things he said tonight, guys. No offense. Not against Barbosa. She's awesome also. But Riker would be great. That's all I'm going to say.
Senator Cocoon.
Okay. I would just want to say I think all four candidates are very good. I would say I know all of them personally to some extent. Maybe Bernal not so much. But I really like the passion of Bernal. My concern would be having that more warmth. I think if he would have had a bit, and that just depends, it all depends on our personality, and so which is not necessarily a bad thing. But if that would have been there, I think that would have been maybe my very perfect choice. But now I would say I'm caught in a split, not into two, maybe more than that. Yeah, but I would also like us to look a bit more into that side of that passion, the competence also to do the job. It takes a lot, yes, but we should also not overlook that aspect of the warmth. I think Claire actually demonstrated that a lot during this term. I would like to commend you on that so much. So, yeah, just vote for your mind. It's a split, I would say.
Senator Chernaski?
Firstly, I think that all 4 of these candidates are excellent candidates, and I think we are really splitting hairs by trying to find which is the best of these 4, because they would all do an excellent job. But with that being said, I'm going to play a little bit of the devil's advocate. I'm a little bit concerned about Bernal's lack of experience, because he is just a freshman, and I think that some of the other candidates have had a lot more time to really be involved in student government and learn all the ins and outs of what we all do. And I think that Ben looks a little bit less prepared than the other candidates tonight. So for me, it's between Lima Barbosa and Senator Marcus.
Senator Utica?
I think I would agree with what the last 2 speakers said. In as much as we are looking for the passion and everything and the drive, we should also look at compassion also. And as much as we are also looking for people who would actually stick to the rules and actually follow the rules and everything, we should also look at people who can also understand people's situation. I remember during the last administration, I had some challenges because I traveled and kind of research-related issues. Claire helped me through that. And basically, not office hours, but like someone you can talk to, and the person would actually understand your situation. So while I'm not telling you guys to vote for anyone, but try to also incorporate that compassion, try to also incorporate someone who can actually listen to you. Thank you.
Senator Pouch?
Senator Chernaski, I appreciate you bringing up perhaps a lack of experience from Bain, but something I would rebuke that by saying I think what I see in Bain is somebody who really truly wants to learn more about student government, somebody who came into student government and didn't realize how much he was going to enjoy it, but really took the ground running. I mean, something that I noticed from him is he was one of the individuals nominated to kind of lead the impeachment trial for the Senate. And, you know, from a freshman, I think that's such an amazing thing to be, like, it's an honor to be that representative. And so I think, like, looking at that and being able to see how far he's come, but also how much he's willing to do, I don't think him being a freshman should necessarily detract from his ability to serve in the role.
Got a motion in the debate phase? Do we have a second? Second. Any objections? Bring the nominees back in, please. Now begins the clarification phase, and the floor is open for questions. A motion and clarification phase, and a seconded. Any objections? All right, the nominees are now to give their 2-minute closing addresses in order they were nominated.
Now, I did have a speech prepared for this, but last minute I've decided that it's better to just, recap some of the things that I feel like are very important to me, and I just want to emphasize them once again. In my speech, I mentioned how student government is very important to me, how the people that are here, or the people that are here now and the people that were here before are the reasons that I'm still here today. And so student government holds a special place in my heart, and the devotion and passion I feel towards making sure that we can accomplish the most as we physically can, right? Or making sure that everybody achieves their goals here. Those are what my priorities will be as vice speaker. Sorry. I plan to make sure that everybody feels comfortable, everybody gets the projects and goals they want to do accomplished, everybody is well informed on the basics of parliamentary procedure so they're comfortable in meetings. And everybody knows the bylaws that are going to be applicable to the bills we'll have on the table. And just making sure that people are informed and comfortable, and making sure that new senators and new members get comfortable quicker than maybe some senators have in the past, just helping them through that process. Those are going to be the guidelines that I am going to live by if elected vice speaker. And with that, I want to thank all of you for listening to my rambling throughout the entire night.
I'll leave with a quote that says a lot about who I am. It comes from a Brazilian songwriter. A step forward and you're already not in the same place. This is exactly what I want for this Senate. Tonight I stood here and told you that this role is about support, and I meant every word about it. The experience I gained as director, as clerk, and as senator has brought me to this exact moment, asking for the opportunity to step into a role that I can advocate for all of you. I talked about how the stugov project, about being present with our at-larges, about open communication around the office hours and outreach. And all of that comes back to the same thing, support. I have shared my goals and my visions tonight, and I mean every word about it. But the truth is, if I leave this role having made one real and meaningful change, I'll consider that success. If I'm chosen as your vice speaker, I want all of us to learn something, to grow, to take a step forward together. And regardless of the outcome for tonight, I want everyone in this room to succeed. Be kind, be empathetic. That's my goal. I hope to be someone that helps you all achieve yours as well. Thank you very much.
So when I first joined student government, I had no idea how much this organization would end up meaning to me. And with that, we are a great organization, but we can always be better. And I want to help us be better, help everyone complete their goals with the projects they want to do, and with anything that they want to achieve through this body. And yeah, thank you.
First, I want to give a thank you to everybody here who asked some amazing and difficult questions. It was challenging to answer some of them, but I'm happy they were asked. I also want to give a thanks to the other three who are up here also doing this. I think all of them are amazing candidates, and no matter who you guys vote for, we're going to be in good hands for the next year. I just want to close this off by saying I want to hit the ground running. I want to be able to create, in just these 4 weeks, the structure for how I will conduct myself and how I want to work with everybody else for the second and third session. I think there's a lot of work to be done. I think there's a lot of ways we can make the Senate a stronger and more unified body, and I think the greatest way to do that is through outreach. I've said it so many times now, I don't even think it's a word anymore, but I just think outreach, outreach, outreach. The more we are able to connect with the students, the more we're able to bring people in. The more we're able to bring people in, the more voices we get heard in this body. And we also make sure that the voices that are currently here are heard. I want to make sure that everybody's comfortable. I want to be an open and just an open person to talk to no matter what happens. And finally, I think my parents are watching, so hello.
We're now going to move into voting. As a reminder, in accordance with bylaw 21961, in the event that no candidate receives a prescribed majority, the candidate with the fewest votes will be removed, and we will vote again. We'll start with Senator Kameyer. Lima Schilling. Jones. Halbuth. Trinaski. Martins. Miller. Saini. Fliggy. Karocha. Babatunde. Kekun. Utica. Schroeder. Quashi.
Sophia.
Dahman. Oh, sorry. Rice. Hartley. Nandal. Valenzuela. Pouch. Carr. Spack. Romare. Valley. Summers. Martins. Saney. Pouch. Romare. Summers. Say that again. Is that everybody? There is no moving down. Yeah, but is that everybody, right?
I believe he said Bernal both times.
Oh, I think he said move me down. Sorry. There we go. Send. Let me count. Vote of 12 to 6 to 5 to 2 abstentions. Ben is removed and we will revote again. Senator Kammeier. Schilling. Jones. Halbuth. Srinaski. Martins. Miller. Saney. Fliggy. Carocha. Babatunde. Cocoon. Utica. Schroeder. Bernal. Oh, sorry. Borshi. Rice. Hartley. Nandal. Valenzuela. Pouch. Carr. Spack. Romare. Valley. Summers. Oh, Dahman. Sorry, that's my bad. Vote of 12 to 8 to 1 to 3, Senator Bernal will be removed, and we will revote again. Kameyer. Schilling. Jones. Halbeth. Stranaski. Martins. Miller. Saney. Fliggy. Carocha. Babatunde. Cocoon. Utica. Schroeder. Bernal. Quashie. Dahman. Rice. Hartley. Nandal. Valenzuela. Pouch. Marcus. Oh, sorry. Carr. Spack. Romare. Valley. Summers. Hold four. With a vote of 12 to 11 to 4, that does not meet the 2/3 majority. We're going to have to do a revote. Do we have a motion to revote? Yeah, we did a motion. Yeah, what are you talking about? Sorry, I got something in my ear. All right. Kameyer. Schilling. Oh. Jones. Halbeth. Stranaski. Martins. Miller. Saney. Fliggy. Carocha. Babatunde. Cocoon. Utica. Schroeder. Bernal. Quashie. Dahman. Rice. Hartley. Nandal. Valenzuela. Pouch. Marcus. Oh, sorry. It's twice now. Carr. Spack. Romare. Valley. Summers. Schilling. Pouch. Yes. Senator Nandal,
I move to recess for 5 minutes.
I hear a second. Vote on that, right? That's a vote, right? Vote on that. All right. Recess for 5 minutes. It is now 8:20. We're now back in session.
No.
Speaker Hartley.
I motion to waive bylaw 2.19.2, which states legislation for Senate officers requires affirmative two-thirds vote, which I would propose we do a simple majority.
Motion is second. Any objection?
I would then also encourage anybody who ran in this race to vote for who you would vote for, and I would not consider that a conflict of interest.
We will now move in to another round of voting, starting with Senator Kameyer. Schilling. Jones. Halbuth. Chernaski. Martins. Miller. Saini. Fliggy. Karocha. Babatunde. Kekung. Utica. Schroeder. Bernal. Qureshi. Dahman. Rice. Hartley. Nandal. Valenzuela. Pouch. Carr. Spack. Romare. Valley. Summers. Bernal. Dahman. Valley. With a vote of 15 to 10 to 2, congratulations to Vice Speaker Marcus. Now we go to the bill as a whole with Marcus's name as the Vice Speaker. Speaker Hartley.
Motion to amend the, okay, motion to amend the bill to reflect Vice Speaker in the whereas clause, the second whereas clause. Or maybe friendly.
Friendly in a second. Any objection? Senator Utica.
Motion to remove Babatunde from the roll.
On the call, the question is seconded. Any objection? UC? Any objection? Congratulations, Vice Speaker Marcus. We now move to 2026-1-001 SC Executive Nomination for Chief of Staff with Senator Hartley, or Speaker Hartley.
Sorry, everybody, I had to get my computer ready. This is the executive nomination for Chief of Staff, and she will explain a little bit of why she's qualified.
Good evening, everyone. Is it working? Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Christine Nandal. I am currently a junior studying data science. Over these past 2 years, I've had experience being the idea director 2 administrators ago, where I learned how the executive cabinet works, the coordination, the deadline, the importance of communication. Then as a senator, seeing operations from the legislative side, understanding how decisions get made, where communication between branches can break down. This is the kind of understanding the Chief of Staff role demands. It's ensuring that every member of the executive branch has the support structure needed to succeed, while keeping the cabinet organized, initiatives on track, and student government operating efficiently. Because the reality is this: a cabinet is only as strong as its internal structure. When communication is unclear or responsibilities overlap, priorities slip, and commitments fall through. My goal as Chief of Staff is to build a culture rooted in clarity, consistency, and accountability, where every director understands their role, that every deadline is met, and every commitment is followed through. That is exactly what I bring to the table, and that is my commitment to student government. Thank you.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
I just want to put my support for Tracy. She's the most qualified candidate we could get for this position. She cares a lot, she's good at her job, she's dedicated, and she's willing to put the work and more. So I'm proud of her.
Speaker Hartley.
I would also like to put my support behind Tracy, but I would like to ask, last administration, Chief of Staff Hosh initiated a process similar to how our Senate uses nonfeasance policies for the cabinet. Do you plan to replicate this, continue the implementation, and what would that look like for you?
Yeah, I do plan on continuing the implementation and following our rules of the bylaws to enforce nonfeasance, feasances, and malfeasances. But I would like to start with communicating first and why those mistakes and errors are happening to solve that issue. Thank you.
Vice Speaker Marcus.
I just wanted to speak up and put my support behind Senator Nandal. She has been a great help, both helping UROC structure their events as president of UROC, and even just a help in the office for every single question I've asked her, whether it was super silly or not. And of course, I want to bring back the classic question of if you had to describe yourself in one word, what word would you use?
Dedicated.
Senator Kameyer.
All right. So I've obviously never been chief of staff, but I know just from talking to Claire that you have to be very organized in this role. So what are ways that you will keep yourself organized while also maybe keeping other cabinet members organized as well?
Yeah, so just planning out a structure with deadlines and making sure everything is set. I know deadlines sometimes can be flexible, making sure I have a calendar with every deadline that needs to be met, when they need to be met, and making sure I'm keeping track of everything so nothing falls through a crack.
Senator, has been called a question? Objection? Senator Pouch.
Yeah, I guess just my one question for you would be, in this role, like, what is something that concerns you about the role, and how will you address that as chief of staff?
That's a really hard question for me right now. One thing that would concern me maybe would be I would really like to have committee events and making sure every committee works together and making sure every cabinet position is filled. I think that would be something that, again, would be outreach related. I know this is a really hard question for me to answer, apparently.
Senator Miller.
I'll be quick, sorry. I just also want to support Shrishti. Seeing how she's operated on rules leads me to believe she'll do a great job as chief of staff. I think what I've seen from her and her skills will lend themselves very well to the role. That's all I'll say.
Senator Kameyer.
All right, I'm about to call to question after this. I would just encourage us to do either placard or roll call for executive nominations. So don't be freaked out when I call for a placard vote. Call to question.
Call to question seconded. Any objection? Proceed with a roll call vote.
Closing
Placard
comment.
vote. Placard vote. raise your placard for affirmative. You put them down now. For negative. Abstention. Congrats, Tristy. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
I move the 2026-1-002 SC Executive Nomination for Finance Director with Senator Kameyer.
All right, I'll just let Love do his thing.
All right, good evening, everyone. My speech is not as fancy as we saw from speaker and vice speaker, but my ideas are. So my name is Love Sani, and I'm majoring in marketing and business analytics with a minor in accounting. I started in student government through the Election Commission. And honestly, I didn't really know what I was getting into at the time. I just showed up and stayed involved. But the moment really that got me into finance was actually pretty random. There was a Teams notification about joining the finance committee, and I almost ignored it. And then a little later, I was giving a tour in the Ivy College of Business as Cyclone Aid over the summer, and I recognized this familiar face from that Teams post. That was FD Kameyer, sitting there from that post. So after my tour, I just went up to him and said, hey, I filled out your form. And we ended up talking about finance, how decisions are made, and he told me about the 13-page document called Priorities and Criterias, which was really complicated to understand, and I also got the opportunity to revise last semester, which also gave me a deeper understanding of why we do and the way we do it, and what goes into the decision and the responsibility behind all of it. And that stuck with me. So I joined, and I kept showing up. Since then, I've served 3 terms on the Election Commission, started as a finance at-large, and transitioned to the business senator in just 1 week. And through all of that, the biggest thing I've learned that this role is about responsibility. At the end of the day, we are working with student dollars, and that's not something you take lightly. This year, I haven't missed a single finance committee meeting for the first one because I was not sad at that time, and Senate session or any part of annual allocations except those 15-20 minutes, because I know no one's going to correct me after, and because I missed my bus. Because I think this job is really learned by being there and doing the work. That's why I showed up every day. If confirmed, my goal is pretty simple. I want to be someone you can rely on, somebody who can clearly explain what we are funding and why behind it, to help this body feel confident in the decisions we are making. I bring an analytical background and an accounting discipline, but more than anything, I bring consistency. And I firmly believe consistency is what builds trust in a role like this. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Begin with Senator Jones.
Okay, you knew this was coming. I had told you I was going to ask a lot of questions. I worked with Love on Finance Committee for the past year, and he has shown that he's able to be FD. He has the leadership qualities. And so my 2 questions for now. My first one is, after seeing how Finance Committee was functioning this year, what are some changes you are looking to make to Finance Committee this year?
So first when I joined finance, right, I really didn't know what to look at, right? I was sent my bill and I bombed it. And I remember Riker and Noah and Samantha and Quinn helping me with it. I had no clue what to do as a senator. So one thing I want to do, if get confirmed, maybe a reference card for all the new senators. You know, what are you expected to do in this role if you're a senator or if an at-large, you know? And there's also at-large members which recently got added to the Constitution. And maybe if Finance Committee is at peak, we might have non-voting at-larges as well. You know, having a clear distinction when the member joins, what do you need to do and what is expected out of you in the committee as first of all, and reference to the priorities and criteria documents as well. It's a 13-page document. I had a really hard time learning it, and I don't expect everybody to know what goes in there. But one thing I want to build on is actually help them understand every time and increase transparency more. You know, Noah always answered my questions, and I want to continue on that for everybody, whether that be a Senate or that be a student who pays into the activity fee.
Okay, my second question is, how do you feel about case-by-case basis?
All right, so this is an interesting question for me because case by case, it also allows committee to have a good amount of say in different types of situations. Because let's talk about insurance, right? That's case by case, right? So if one of the organizations come to the committee hearing and go like, oh, we need insurance for this, and then another one comes up, and that kind of insurance is really like vary in different prices and stuff, I think committee holds the power to have bias in there, but if it's written, why are we giving that case-by-case preference to that specific case? Like, oh, this is a special case, and it's written that some of the requirements that they fill in that specific case. I'm not able to put it in smart words, but I kind of find it annoying.
Perfect. Thank you.
I believe I saw Senator Pouch next. I believe so. It's one of you two.
Okay, so looking at the finances for next year, as I understand it, we've entered into a very large, perhaps not a very large deficit, but a deficit at least when it comes to the contract for student legal services. And something that kind of brings up is, can you describe like how you would be proactive in this role to ensure that those kinds of things are prevented, and what experiences do you have kind of being proactive to serve students in the best way possible?
All right. So one of the things I want to begin answering that is I want to be a consultant to everybody because I get to see the accounts every day if I become the FD. I mean, Noah saw accounts every day, and I was just quizzing him because I scrapped off 20 years of data from online finance program, and I hit him with, oh, so how much do you think we allocated through online finance programs since last 20 years? And he goes like, 25 million, 26 million. I was surprised. How is he pretty accurate about it? Because he saw the numbers every day. And the number was 19.1 million. And for the deficit, I guess let me tell you an honest answer, I haven't dealt with a deficit before. And especially a big of a $600,000. And I think somebody from Ford Motor said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And whatever we have for strategy will fail in long term if we don't change the culture, how we deal in finance with. If there are not transparent decisions being made in the Senate as a whole, I think we will set ourselves up for failure in finance for long term. And I want to change that. And especially the budget reports, every week, I have some new ideas for that. And I also want to introduce journals. I have an accounting minor, and I topped accounting in my state back home. And this is kind of my stuff. You know, Senator Zernasky said when he joined Finance Committee, oh, what's there to look at for me? And then I handed him the cent-by-cent breakdown. And he's like, what, accept that? I was like, all right. Then the idea came right away. I was like, journals. Journal basically shows all the transactions happening and the specific amount listed and the account as well, from debit to credit. So that's one of the things I want to introduce for transparency per week. And serving students in a proactive role like this, you know, I've been a tour guide before. You know, I've helped parents and students make decisions that they're going to send their children to college for 4 years, which they have no experience or which they haven't been before, except they're an alumni. And I've spent 100+ hours in customer service and training and conflict resolution. If they come up, I can just do as I like. I was a tour guide. Just help them as the way I should, as a student.
Senator Kameyer.
All right. There are about a million things that I could say about this role and about all of that. I will say it's good that you missed the first Finance Committee meeting because it was a mess. Anyway, so last year we declined the nomination of a finance director due to a lack of experience. And there were a series of questions that I'm now going to ask you, which will kind of show to the Senate your experience. So have you ever written a line item transfer before?
Yes.
Have you ever written a Senate funding bill?
Yes, I believe I had the highest last semester. Close, not more than Samantha.
Have you ever written a contract or debt contract before?
Debt contract, yes. I have helped writing a contract with Jack.
Have you ever reviewed a priorities and criteria document?
Oh, I love doing that.
Have you ever been on a committee with other members related to finances or the activity fee?
Yes. Oh, well, activity fee.
Well, finances
Well,
that come from the activity fee.
Yes.
So, yes. Yeah, I think that speaks for itself in terms of experience. And other than missing the Skydivers and Sketch Magazine budget hearings, I mean, that bus.
I'm sorry.
You've been a great committee member, and I'm excited to see you in this role.
Thank you, Noah.
Speaker Hartley.
I would just like to place my support behind Senator Seni. I've had many good conversations about finances with him, and I believe that he has my full confidence. You kind of touched on this a bit. I have two questions. You touched on this a bit. Something I really advocated for was the addition of the requirement of the weekly financial presentations. Do you have any more things to say on how you plan to do that, specifically in regards to the Senate presentation? And then, hold on, let me think about what my second question was. Go ahead.
All right. So I don't even mind hosting a program, just like President Cook did. Well, I'm not a president, but, educating. So to get to the long-term goal that I have, or we should have as a Senate, we need to build a base first. And for that base, Senate needs to know how finance works. I don't want to change that. And they need to know more. And, every finance information, no matter how much you know, Noah used to surprise me with new facts every day. And I was like, oh man, I don't know too much. And, knowing about it every day, even that doesn't help. I mean, also some effort from your side, some effort from my side. I think we should collaborate on this. And when I present every week at the Senate, I'll have a whole thing. And another thing I want to list it as ROI analysis, return on investment analysis. So every student invests $80 per year into the student activity fees, which goes to student government. But do they know how much they get back? I'm pretty sure no. Even I don't know how much I got back. So doing that, and also the deficit, I want to touch on that one as well a little bit, because the deficit we have is $600,000. And if a program or a project that we were picking up, because the deficit mainly sits in the special projects account, and if it's a big project we were picking up, like a $100,000 project, and if it only benefits like 20, 30 students, I don't think so we can afford that luxury during a time of deficit. I think Senate needs to know that.
Thank you. And then my second question. 2 administrations ago, our Finance Committee did not have any at-larges. Last administration, we had 2. What's your plan for at-larges? Do you plan on expanding that, continuing with the same? What's your plan?
I love at-large Rankin, and I love at-large Weiland. Did I butcher your name? I'm sorry. So I want to introduce at-larges. There was one thing in my mind. I was thinking about it as well. Going to these clubs like Investment Club and all these other, I'm going to increase outreach to everybody, but specifically some of the clubs like investment or what the other club would be. Well, I cannot take it off the top of my head because or finance club, right? Also giving them experience while also giving them votes in the committee. That's an important thing. Having people who may benefit within their study or their program in the committee, and I want to continue at-larges.
Vice Speaker Marcus.
Yeah, I also want to start by putting my full support behind Senator Seni. And I also want to ask a first question that I didn't tell you I was going to ask you, so I wanted to see what your on-the-spot response would be. I've been fortunate enough to sit on 2 different finance committees under 2 different finance directors, one of them being a little bit more structured, a little bit more Robert's Rules of Order focused, a little bit more focused towards like raising placards, speaking only with placards, and then sometimes when it called for it, opening it up to just kind of a group discussion. And then I've also sat on the committee where it's more group discussion more often and placards when like group discussion being the norm and placards being the exception. I was just curious how you plan to structure your committee. Do you plan to gear towards more of Robert's Rules of Order? Or do you plan to keep that open debate structure that we've had work for us fairly well throughout this past year?
Sometimes Robert's Rules makes the conversation mundane sometimes in finance. I think sometimes also having informal discussions is also important, but for the sake of the order, I think Robert's Rules is best. And I just ordered the book yesterday, so yeah.
That's great to hear. And then my second question for you is going to be, obviously, you are going to really try to prepare yourself, I'm sure, to be able to chair those finance committee meetings. What do you think is going to be your main method to get the committee back on track when they're talking in circles or when a conversation's kind of not really going in a positive direction or not going in the direction it needs to be? How do you think you're going to handle those times where the committee just kind of gets lost in the debate?
Call Jermaine.
That's a great answer. Thank you.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
Okay, first, I want to say that I fully support Love. He has what it takes, and I call that passion. He was in every meeting, and I kind of mentioned I'm kind of like very stuck in my opinions, and he made me change my mind at least 4 times. And I give you merit for it because you're really good in bringing the argument to the table. So I want to highlight this as what I see as your biggest quality, but I want to know, what do you think is your biggest quality?
Being able to understand both sides of like arguments and actually coming to a common page and coming to a final decision with everybody being involved. And was that one word or? All right. Yeah, I'll yield with that.
Senator Dahman.
I just want to start by saying I fully support Love for finance director. I think he'll make a phenomenal one. Then my question is, what do you think is one thing that you think the entire Senate, not just the people on finance, should know about finance committee?
We have 14 accounts. I mean, that's one of the things I want everybody to know, and what those accounts stand for. And are we actually doing what those accounts are supposed to do? You know, having that say in the Senate and telling them what those each account stand for. So even if, you know, if I commit a mistake and, you know, I want the Senate to challenge me, so I think they should know.
Senator Cocoon.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll start like everybody else. I want to put my full support behind Senator Seni. He reached out to me asking for potential improvements on finance. I think that's really good, and I'm very, very sure he's going to do a great job. But also, before moving forward, I also like to commend maybe the executive for the nominations. Sometimes being at both sides could actually give you a better picture. I'm sure Senator Kemai actually did a great job, a fantastic job as finance director, partly due to his being involved in Senate prior to that time. And so I'll have a few questions for Seni. The first one, I would like to see the community is vibrant already, but a more vibrant ISU community, especially regarding clubs and organizations. So what do you think clubs and organizations have to know, or what would you like them to know, especially regarding finance, that you think could maybe spur up seeing them carrying out many activities, professional activities, social events, or so that student government could finance? So what do you think they should know? And on the flip side, do you have any plans to reach out to clubs and organizations to let them know some things you think they should know?
Yeah.
That's the first one.
All right. So the first things, like when you apply for funding through student government website, right? I'm not sure if you get the confirmation that you applied for it, but even if you do, I think that needs some improvement. You know, committee, like when we used to be sitting in the committee, a lot of clubs would show up not knowing what PNC is, right? And having that same reference list for clubs and organizations an expectation list. Oh, this is how we deal in the committee, and this is what our document is. You know, sometimes in the committee we have told them like 100 times, oh, we have a document called priorities and criteria, and they were like, we didn't know that. I think that's a gap from our side. I don't want to close that gap. You know, something included in the automated email as soon as they apply for funding, they get this email, confirmation email, and with that, it's included like expectation, like what will be asked in the committee and what stands for what in PNC, basically like a crux of it. And yeah, that's the first thing. And second thing, one of the things that a lot of international organizations and global clubs, whatever, struggle to do is always having card scanners at their events. I want to communicate that and maybe also have it in the PNC that it's required to have that, to have a clear stance on it. Because a lot of clubs we have funded past semester, they did not have card scanners. And I don't think so we are doing a fair enough job to every other organization we see over there. And we might enforce that on someone, and we might not at some of the cases. I think it should be the case for everybody.
Great answers. The second one, but that's more on graduate and professional students. I represent GPSS, so pardon me if this is a bit towards a selfish aspect. Yeah. So, I think 1/3 of student activity fee of graduate students actually come to student government, and GPSS has been looking at ways to get more funds, because a lot of things actually are open to do. But based on the article of corporation, 1/3 of the activity fee actually comes to student gov. So would you be open to having a conversation regarding that aspect, or being willing to work out a structure such that maybe you could possibly free up more funds for GPSS to really activate activities, especially towards graduate students?
That's a nice question, and I haven't seen our books yet. So books of business and books of revenue that we have. So, and I haven't sat in those fee committees that past finance director has, and I don't feel confident right now, but I'm sure we're down to have a conversation about it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Senator Chernaski?
I'll be really quick. I had the pleasure of working with Senator Sani over the last couple of months, and I fully voiced my support for him for finance director. My question to you is, what do you think the biggest challenge will be right away?
Transitioning, I think, because, you know, there's a lot of stuff that Noah's gonna send it over to me, and that's a lot of stuff. And I'm also not doing an internship this summer, not even a job, so I think that's gonna kind of make it easy because I'll have more time. But the biggest challenge is transition. Yeah.
Senator Jones?
I'll make it quick. So Noah and I are the longest standing people on finance committee, and I was fortunate enough to join 2 administrations ago, and I was reached out by the finance director, and he said that he wanted me to be on the finance committee. I wasn't originally going to join. I had no intention of joining, and he said, oh, I need you. So that's how I got involved. How are you, as finance director, going to select, encourage others to join finance committee, even though it might not be their first level of priority? I'm elementary education. Finance is not my major. It's a hobby I've taken up. But like, how are you going to get different people, different majors, different backgrounds on a committee to make up a different, yeah.
Yeah, and for the senator's side of selection, I think speaker is going to be involved in a lot of with vice speaker this time. As of right now, I don't fully understand what that thing stands for. Either like, am I hosting the interviews for the senators, or no? So I'm not clear about that, but of course I want you on my committee, of course. If I could get some information on that.
Can I touch on that? So I think the committee, Rules Committee last semester decided to make it very broad to allow for us to try a situation, not to lock us into one particular way of doing things. And I don't have I have ideas on how to go about doing that, but I'm not set in any particular ways. And I would definitely encourage any ideas that anybody else has, send them my way. And I'm very open to collaboration on that.
And for it as a whole, I think, I'm a marketing major, and I can create FOMO through marketing and make people join the committee. And, I'm also a sales guy. I can, convince people to join the committee no matter what their major is. So,
Senator Kameyer.
All right, and I also had a pretty similar experience to Senator Jones. I'll just add that I had no interest in joining the Finance Committee, and then President Hirsch was like, "Why are you not joining Finance?" And I just kind of did it.
he was a sales guy too.
Yeah, he was definitely a sales guy. Okay, so my question to you, so during your term, you will have at least 2 major contract negotiations. And then also you'll be sat on the Special Student Fee Committee. Those will require a lot of discussions with, the higher-ups of the university or university departments. What will be your approach to having those discussions?
So, as I told before, I haven't sat on a higher-up committee like that. I think my approach, first of all, is listen, seek to understand, and then seek to be understood, what they're trying to propose, what is actually going on. Also, having student voice in there is really important, and not mixing that with my own voice. This is what I think, this is what my constituents think. I think this values more than what I think. So, listening is one of the first things that I would like to do in there. So, yeah, I agree with that.
It's been called the question, seconded. Any objections? Move to a placard vote. Raise your placard for yes. You put them down now. Raise for no. Abstain. Vote of 26 0 to 0. Congrats, Love, on being as finance director.
Thank you.
We now move into new business with 2026-1-001F, funding glow sticks and other event supplies for volleyball with Senator Kameyer.
All right, so this is first read for a finance bill, and I just want to say I'm really sorry to have this on first read for like the first meeting before we have a finance committee or anything to look at it. Unfortunately, the event is on Friday of next week, so didn't really have a choice. But in the absence of a finance committee, we'll have to talk with now Finance Director Saini about what he wants to do. But we will go through some sort of review process before this goes back to Senate, and it will be voted on next week. For first reads, for those of you who don't know, it's questions of intent, so just yes or no questions. If you have any, just let me know, and we will be voting on this next week.
Senator Marcus, or Vice Speaker Marcus?
Just 2 quick ones for you. So this is this year, as in like this upcoming April 17th.
Yes.
Will you be able to explain why the funds aren't set to expire until the end of the next fiscal year?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Senator Bernal?
Will there be a representative to speak about this next week?
Yes.
Senator Pouch?
Are there any concerns with getting the supplies in time if we pass this on Wednesday and the event is on Friday?
I'll say yes.
Closing comments?
Do we want to go to them first? They look like they have something of importance.
Who was first? Senator Dowman.
I yield to FD Saney.
It's a yes or no question to
Oh, I thought you guys. Okay.
Senator Kampmeyer. Do you consider backdrop decoration as funding eligible expenditures?
Ooh, point of information, they're a partnered organization.
They're sponsored, to my
So
knowledge.
they're sponsored for next fiscal year.
Oh, got me there. Yeah, all right. I yield.
Senator Bernal.
This is going to be directed to the new vice speaker. So how are office hours going to work this week? Do we got the next 2 days to just stick an hour in? I thought we were to closing comments. That's what the vice president said.
On the bill,
I-
sorry.
I was going to mention it in my closing comments, but I can quickly say it now. There's no office hour this week. There will be one next week, and I will elaborate on that in a minute.
No. Senator Kampmeyer.
Okay. Oh, I'm so sad I don't have to do an office hour this week. That's terrible. I just want to shout out, I think this is our shortest first meeting of a first session in a really, really long time. But we asked really good questions today. And also shout out to the new senators who contributed to the discussion. And if you didn't, that's perfectly okay. And yeah, I will yield to, I think, VP goes. Vice Speaker Marcus.
Thank you. Yeah, my only other closing announcement for you guys is just any new senators that don't know where the office space is or don't know where you have to go to your office hour, just hang back for a minute. I'll walk down there and I'll show any of you that don't know where it is, I'll show you the office and explain how it works, how you get in, all those good things. Other than that, thank you everybody to staying out here, and I'll yield to Speaker Hartley.
Sorry, 1 second. Thank you all for a great first meeting. Thank you for entrusting me with the duties of a speaker. I'm very proud of all of you for all of the questions you asked, and I'm very excited for this next year. I have very high hopes for all of us. I'll be in contact with all of you in the next week. If you have any questions until I reach out to you, please feel free to ask. Motion to adjourn.
Couple closing announcements, if we don't mind. Comments for the good of the group. Yeah. I didn't get a chance. Okay, so on closing announcements for the good of the group, so a couple of things I forgot earlier. If you have cords or you know of people that have graduation cords, I think there might be a couple left in Amy's workspace downstairs. If you don't know where that is, Vice Speaker Marcus is going down there. I was going to offer the same thing. There's also certificates. So if you just completed a year in student government or completed and ended a term, you have a certificate. And if you didn't get it at inauguration, we have it in the Senate office. So please get those. We do have another certificate too for inauguration. So James, I think that's you. So catch me after, and then we can get that to you as well as we go downstairs. And yeah, to what Senator Kampmeyer said, this was an incredible meeting where we made it just about an hour before closing. That's rare. So congratulations on that. So I guess the other announcement was 10 p.m. building close for the rest of our meetings, but seeing that we're an hour earlier than building close, we're going to be good. So those were my announcements. So cords, certificates. If you were elected tonight or sat, congratulations. Thank you again. And thank you for sticking out the 3-hour and 4-minute meeting. And might grab pictures of the newly elected chief officers after, so don't go too far. But yeah, thank you for indulging me as your photographer, clerk, and president.
Motion adjourned is second. Any objection? Go Cyclones.